The sun was just beginning to rise over the sanctuary as the gates creaked open for someone very special. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video with your friends. After 8 long years, Linda finally walked through the doors of the place where her heart once lived, and waited. But this wasn't just a reunion with familiar faces or an old job. No, Linda had returned for one reason: to see Marvin, a 500-pound lion who, years ago, was more than just another rescue. He was her child, her shadow, her best friend. And now, after nearly a decade apart, the question hung in the air like a cloud. Would he remember her? Before we get to that moment, the one that made grown caretakers cry and left the staff speechless, we have to go back to the beginning, because Linda's bond with Marvin wasn't built in a day. It started under tragic circumstances during a safari in Africa, where Linda, then a young tour guide, heard the warning roars of lionesses nearby. When she reached the scene, the threat, poachers, had already come and gone. What they left behind wasn't just an empty landscape, but something moving in the bushes. A tiny lion cub, all alone, frightened and abandoned. She scooped him up without hesitation. Something in her chest just knew. She couldn't leave him behind. That cub would come to be named Marvin, after her grandfather. Linda immediately resigned from guiding tours and took Marvin to a wildlife sanctuary in Australia, where she began working just to stay by his side. Every day, for years, she fed him, played with him, taught him everything he needed to know to thrive. Marvin flourished under Linda's care. He became a strong, playful lion, beloved by the sanctuary staff and known for being unusually affectionate, with Linda especially. The two were inseparable. Wherever she went, Marvin followed. He would lie beside her as she brushed his fur, purr deeply when she told him stories, and light up with joy when she stepped into his enclosure. But then, Linda's life took a turn. Her mother, sick and growing weaker by the day, needed full-time care. It meant moving away, across the continent, and saying goodbye to the sanctuary, and Marvin. Linda cried for days. When she finally walked out of the sanctuary, she left behind not just a job, but a piece of her heart. What happened to Marvin after Linda left was something no one could have predicted. The playful lion turned into a ghost. He retreated from his fellow lions, refused food, ignored caretakers, and spent hours sitting silently in the corner of his enclosure, his golden eyes scanning the horizon as if waiting for her to return. Caretakers came and went. Some tried to connect with him to bring him back to life. But Marvin wanted none of it. He wanted Linda. Years passed, 8 of them. During that time, Linda stayed away, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Her mother's condition demanded everything she had. But eventually, her mother passed, peacefully and with Linda by her side. And as the chapter of being a caregiver closed, a new one reopened. Linda packed her things and returned to the town she once called home. The very first place she went, the sanctuary. Her heart pounded as she walked in. So much had changed. New buildings, new animals, unfamiliar faces. But one thing was exactly the same, the weight in her chest when she saw Marvin sitting on his rock, alone, still watching the distance. "He's been like that for days," the manager told her. "No one can get close. He growls at everyone now. I'm not sure it's safe." Linda didn't hesitate. She walked up to his enclosure, her voice barely a whisper. "Hey, Marvin. It's me. It's Linda." The staff held their breath as she entered. Her heart raced. Marvin's body stiffened. He paced. He growled. For a second, it looked like everything they feared would come true. But then, something changed. He stopped. He turned. And then, he ran. Not away from her, but toward her. With a powerful leap, he pounced, right into her arms. The moment Marvin launched himself toward Linda, time seemed to stop. Staff members rushed to the gate, ready to intervene. But what they saw made them freeze. Marvin, all 500 pounds of him, didn't attack. He tackled her like an overgrown puppy, knocking her to the ground, licking her face, rubbing his massive head against her chest like a lost child finally finding home again. It was pure joy, raw, emotional, and overwhelming. Linda burst into tears as she held him close. "I missed you so much," she whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. Marvin didn't need to speak. His response was written in every purr, every lick, every moment he refused to leave her side. The caretakers stood in silence, some with tears in their eyes. They had never seen anything like it before. A lion, once thought to be too far gone emotionally, had come back to life in a matter of seconds, all because of love. From that day on, everything changed. Linda returned to the sanctuary full-time. She took her old job back, but this time it wasn't just about taking care of animals. It was about reconnecting with her best friend. Every morning began with Marvin waiting by the gate of his enclosure, tail flicking, eyes scanning the horizon. Every evening ended the same way, with Linda brushing his golden mane while humming the same tune she used to sing to him as a cub. It didn't take long before Marvin began to change. He started eating regularly again. He played. He even began interacting with the other lions in his enclosure, something he hadn't done in years. The sanctuary staff watched in awe as the once broken lion found himself again, piece by piece, day by day. Their story spread quickly. News outlets picked it up, calling it the most emotional reunion between a human and a lion ever captured. A film crew even visited the sanctuary, documenting the journey of Marvin and Linda for a wildlife series. But Linda didn't care about the attention. For her, the only thing that mattered was that Marvin was okay. "I always said he was like a son to me," Linda told a local reporter, brushing a few stray hairs off her shirt. "Now I know. I'm like a mother to him, too. Nothing, time, distance, or species, can break that." And she meant it. Linda would go on to spend most of her days in Marvin's enclosure. Sometimes they'd just sit in silence. Other times, they'd play like they used to. But no matter what the day brought, they were together, and that was all that mattered. Now, every time a guest visits the sanctuary and stops by Marvin's enclosure, they don't just see a lion. They witness a bond that survived the impossible. They see what love, trust, and loyalty look like when they're tested by time, and pass with flying colors. At the end of each day, as Linda locks up the gates, she leans into Marvin's mane and whispers the same words she did that very first night back. "See you tomorrow, my friend. You'll never be alone again." And Marvin, as if he understands every word, watches her go, eyes soft, heart full, knowing that the one person he waited 8 long years for is finally home.